Hello, beautiful people. This is Sade Wayadu, personal brand strategist, speaker, and coach, founder of SadeWayadu.com, where we help women entrepreneurs brand their greatness and profit from their brilliance. And this is, I believe, episode 12 of Brand on Blab, where we blab about branding. And each week we have an amazing guest that shares their branding story and how they are building their brand empires. And this week is no different. We have the lovely Mrs. New Jersey, Miss Janice Celeste, and she's going to be talking to us about her amazing life, businesses and companies that she's started, and just the journey of being the face of the state of New Jersey, my hometown, although my home state, even though I haven't been there in like forever, I still love New Jersey. So I was so happy to connect with her, and through the power of social media, and we actually connected through LinkedIn. So I'm really excited to talk to her today and let her share her story of how she became the missus of the state, of my home state, of the Garden State. And just tell us a little bit more about her. She's an author. She is obviously gorgeous. She's a brand ambassador and a model, and and she's also a CEO. So I want her to talk a little bit about her life and her story. And without further ado, I'm going to hush so we can hear from the lovely Miss Janice, the CEO of We Speak Worldwide and Mrs. New Jersey. Welcome to Brand on Blab. Thank you so much for being on with us and sharing your story with us. How are you doing today, this evening?
I'm great. Thank you, Sade. I am really doing well. And I want to thank you for having me on. I think this is wonderful. I love Blab because it just gets so many people together and you can do so many professional interviews. It's just really a nice platform.
I am definitely a Blab addict. Live streaming has taken over my life. I love it. I'm such a fan of it. So tell us a little bit more about what you do, what you're currently doing in your role as Miss New Jersey, and the other businesses that you also do. So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. I am Mrs. New Jersey, United States. There are a lot of different pageants with different titles. It's Mrs. United States. There's Mrs. America. Those are the two biggest ones. And they have, of course, Mrs. International. So you can literally have a Mrs. New Jersey for each of those pageants, plus not even to mention the ones that are smaller than that. So you might one day at a parade see a bunch of Mrs. New Jersey, Miss New Jersey, Ms. New Jersey, Little Miss New Jersey. There's so many different titles you can hold. So with this being one of the most prestigious ones, I'm very honored to have that title. The year that I wanted to compete, they actually decided not to have a pageant. So what I had to do was compete at large, which basically means I had to compete with a bunch of other people via my portfolio. And I had already competed for Mrs. New Jersey America and came in second place. So they decided out of all the women who entered that year to pick me. So I was the lucky one. And I got to represent our state in Las Vegas in July and compete against 52 gorgeous women. I'm talking, okay, I'm almost 50 years old, okay? And I'm competing against girls 20 years old, some that are bikini models. So when you're my age and you're trying to compete, and I'm competing because it keeps me in shape. I lost 70 pounds before I decided to compete because I was on high blood pressure medication. I was not fitting my clothes anymore, and it was the heaviest I've ever been in my life. Even when I was pregnant, I did not weigh as much as I did before I decided to compete. So I failed at dieting 4 times, and then with Weight Watchers, and then I decided to do it, and I finally did it, and I stuck to it, and my goal was if I lost the 70 pounds, I was going to enter pageants again. And then my husband now asks me, so when are you going to stop? I'm like, if I stop, I don't have a motivation to lose weight, because even with the blood pressure being high, it was more like, whoa, it's me, why me, instead of what am I going to do about it? So when you have to compete against women half your age in bikinis on stage in front of thousands of people, that's live streamed to even more people, their family and friends, you will be motivated to lose the weight and get in shape. I literally became in the best shape of my life, even more so than when I was 16 years old. I was always skinny up until midlife, and then I started, my metabolism just divorced me. It went, I don't know where it lives now, but I have the slowest metabolism in the world. So I started gaining weight that way, and I decided that, I have to figure out what works for me. And I learned how to eat better from Weight Watchers because I never had to do it before. I was always skinny growing up. And then, when I hit like 40, oh my God, I just like, at first I was like, this is great. I got some hips now, I got some boobs, some little curves going on. But then it just kept going. I was like, oh, I don't know how to stop this. And I really didn't know how to stop it. So I learned how to eat and then I had to learn what worked for me, because Weight Watchers will give you a general thing that will work for everybody, right? But you got to kind of take that and I think shape it for yourself. Like I learned I can't eat heavy dinners. If I eat heavy at dinner time, I will start to gain weight, and I have to actually pay attention and track what I'm eating, or I'll just be like, I don't care, I'm going to have this and I'm going to have that. And before you know it, I've packed on the pounds and went over my calories. So, well, that's the weight loss story. So I decided to do that, and I'm staying in pageantry because of that. As far as my business is concerned, we moved. And when I decided to move, I knew that area, I'm in broadcast. So I knew that I would not be able to find a job and we had to move because of family purposes. So I'm actually representing the state of New Jersey, but now I am in Florida. So from this point on, after I give up my crown, I will be competing in Florida. So if you see me as Mrs. Florida, that's why I had to take care of family. But when I decided to move to Florida, this is not really a broadcast state. New York, California, and LA. Those are the places I have to be in order to make money. So I had already run a speakers bureau a little bit at my last position, and I've always been great at promoting people. I promoted my daughter into modeling, and she became a Victoria's Secrets model. So she does that. She did that twice. She walked for Victoria's Secrets, and she's done Vogue covers and everything. So she's out there. She's been doing it since she was 12. She's 26 now. And I was her momager. So I said, okay, you know what? I'm really good at promoting people. And all my friends, especially my pageant friends, they are speaking for free. I used to get paid years ago. I mean, talking 15 years ago or more, $3,000 just to do a talk. Why are these people doing this for free? And I understand some things are for charity, so that's great. Yes, do that for free. But there are some things that aren't, and you can get paid and make a living and take care of your children, because most of them are misses, and do this. So I said, okay, let me start a speakers bureau. So that's how it started, because I wanted to get my pageant friends work and paid for doing what they do for free. And then it just grew. I got so many requests for speakers that I was like, okay, it's not a problem getting speakers. So then I had to figure out the other half, which is how do I get people to hire these great speakers? Then I became a lot more selective with who I'm bringing in as speakers to make sure they can command top dollar. And then now I'm starting to forge these relationships, because we launched August 31st. I had been working on it all year, launched August 31st. Now we're at the point where we're forging relationships with Fortune 500 companies, training facilities, training companies to hire our speakers. I literally have speakers that can make $3,000 a talk to $70,000 a talk, depending on where they're going. Yeah, for one day, or half a day, I should say. So I'm like their agent. I handle everything, getting the job, travel, any problems that come up, that's me. So my goal eventually is to be able to take my company and be able to work from the beach. That's my ultimate mission statement. I want to be able to work from the beach for my company remotely. But that's what I do. Every day I work probably 15 hours a day, just trying to find places to promote and place my speakers and to make sure people know who they are and what they speak on. So that's where I am now. I'm also writing a new book, but I can't talk too much about it. I like it because it's not going to come out probably to this time next year, and I don't want anybody else doing it. But it's on entrepreneurship. So it's my first business book, and I'm really excited about it and about the potential as well.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. These are some amazing things that are happening in your life, and thank you so much for sharing them with us. And the next question, you kind of went into how you started your business out of a need for people in your market that were speaking for free and not speaking for a fee. I know personally that's something, I have a speaking coach who was also in pageants. She was like one of the runner-ups for the Miss America pageant. She was Miss DC at one particular time. And that's one of the things that she talks about a lot, transitioning coaches, entrepreneurs into speaking for free for speaking for a fee. So if some of our listeners who are watching this, whether live or on the replay, are interested in possibly being represented by your Speakers Bureau, what types of speakers do you represent and what type of gigs do they usually give?
Well, it depends. I have a variety of different types of speakers. I have someone who lost 200 pounds who's been on Dr. Oz and every talk show out there, from Katie Couric to even C. Parby's show. So that's one that's just would talk to women's groups and weight loss groups and things like that. And then I have a person who I told you commands the 70,000 talk, and he talks on creativity in the corporate world. And he actually paints. He's an artist. He paints on stage a masterpiece while he's talking in a matter of minutes, and then auctions that off at the convention or conference that he's participating in. So he gives it to the conference person and he says, okay, this is how you raise money for your charity that you're connected with usually, and auction it off with your guests. And most people want it because they just saw him paint it, and he's an awesome speaker. He gets people up off of their feet. They're applauding him, and he's absolutely amazing. His name is Eric Wall. So, I mean, it can be almost anything. The one thing I don't take is only because the whole goal of this is to try to make some income, because this is what I do for a living. This is what put food on the table, is that I don't take a lot of people who talk on charity types of illnesses, from everything from, I have some people talk about, let me think of one that came to me. What's the new one? I can't think of it. It's like everybody wants to talk on this one, but just say heart disease, and yeah, you can go talk to the Heart Association or whatever, but they're not going to pay you to do that. So that's not going to help me. I had one person approach me and say, can I talk about how chronic illness affects a person in business? And I was like, no one's going to pay you to hear that. We're approaching Fortune 500 companies who want to know how to get better and how to make their employees motivated. So you have to have a topic that interests them. So my expertise is entrepreneurship. I have a professor who is a professor of entrepreneurship who talks about demographics and how they're going to be changing so dramatically over the next 10 years. Is going to blow people's minds. I mean, literally, our demographics in America is changing right before and under our noses, and people don't even realize that what used to be isn't going to be, and the world's going to look a lot different. So he talks about that and how to prepare your business for profit with that. So the idea is, if you have a topic that is going to be of interest to Fortune 500 companies, you're a dynamic speaker, which everyone thinks they are, but that means you're getting people off their feet and applauding, you're interacting with them so that they are actually, doing something with you, because they could just sit in front of a computer and hear you talk these days. You need to do something to get people interacting with each other at a conference, because that's what they're for, is that experience. And you need to do something that they're going to remember with them, because otherwise, why not just watch a webinar? Or webcast. So I'm looking for people that are dynamic. You have to have some things already when you come to a speakers bureau. You need to especially have a video of you talking to a group or several groups, showing that you're a dynamic person. That's how we sell you. So if you don't have a video of you up there doing your thing and doing it well, and it can't be a shaky handheld iPhone video. It has to be a professional video. Most of my speakers that come to me, they will have a professionally produced demo reel of their speaking engagements that tells what they talk about. And that's the best way to come correct. It's the proper way to go.
That's what I want to talk about next. Coming correct. So if someone's interested, I know there are plenty of people that I know personally that are speakers, and my coach is pushing me to speak more because I know I have not been doing it. What are the things that we need as people who want to speak more for fees? What do we need to how do we come correct to you? You talk specifically about the professional demo reel. Mm-hmm. What are some of the other things that we need to have in place before we approach you?
The best thing you can do to start, if you're looking to start speaking, is just, first of all, speak for free. SCORE is always looking for speakers to come in once a month to speak for free. You have to speak for free a little bit so you can get those demo reels. You have to if you're just starting off. You don't start off and get paid. It doesn't work that way. So before you even go to Speakers Bureau, do a few things for free, a few talks for free. It also kind of get you into the routine of doing it and make you more professional, and you'll get better every time. Get that filmed, get several of them filmed, put them together as a demo reel. That's number one. If you are trying to become an expert in that field, the best thing that you can absolutely do is to write a book on it. Even if it's a short book, it can be a pamphlet. It can be, it can be an ebook, but pretty much, but it's best to have something that you can physically have as in print, because people want to buy whatever you're selling. If you're speaking that well and they are getting what you're putting out, they're going to want to buy your book when you're done, or buy something from you. They're ready to open their wallet. So you're missing out on an opportunity for that. And when you write a book, it makes you an expert on that. So if you look at my speakers' profiles, the first thing it starts off with are testimonials from the people who have hired them. So it says, they were awesome, I would hire them again, because that makes another meeting planner say, hey, you're going to make me look good, so I'm going to hire you. And then what comes next is their list of topics that they talk about with a little summary, and then their bio, because this is all part of your press kit. If you're a professional speaker, before you even get to a Speakers Bureau, you're going to have a press kit. Your bio, it's going to have a video link of you talking, like I talked about earlier, and it's going to have, it also has a tab for photos of you talking. So if you have a friend in the audience, tell them to take action shots of you really getting into it, or you interacting with one of the guests. That is one of maybe 200 guests, but you might be interacting with all the rest in the background. That's a great picture to show that you're not just sitting there behind a podium, being monotone and wah. Nobody wants that. So that's going to be in there, all their pictures of them being dynamic and talking. And then their book cover with a link to buy their book is also in their portfolio. So these days, it's not hard to write a book. You can go to createspace.com, which is Amazon, and you can write a book, upload it there, and they'll print them on demand. You can order as many as you want, and they'll give you a discount for ordering your own book, but they'll put it on Amazon, which is even better, and sell your book. It can be a 100-page book. That doesn't matter as long as you have something that shows you're expert in your field and that they can buy when they're done. They're done with you. Talking. You hear you talk. They want to buy your book. So that's one of the best things I can advise anyone who wants to speak, is to sit down, take an hour or two every day somewhere, whether it's your lunch break, you get up early in the morning, you come home, and that's the first thing you do, just discipline, just start writing, putting your ideas down, start with an outline and just start writing, because that book is going to basically give you credibility, total credibility.
These are amazing tips. I am writing them down, and I will be implementing them all in a short amount of time. So I totally agree with the tips. They're awesome. And make sure, I have one more question.
Sure.
You talked about the specific kind of speakers you're looking for. What are some of the top speaking topics that are in demand now?
Oh, it really depends. Women in leadership is always a big one. I've been getting that a lot. So I have one speaker who was the president of Pepperidge Farms, and now she sits on all these boards for Fortune 500 companies like Sunoco and Dunkin' Donuts brands. And she is just funny. She's really a funny person. I actually emailed her today, and she forgot to email me back from earlier in the week. She goes, "Oh, my bad." I'm like, wait, you were the president of Pepperidge Farms. I went, "Oh, my bad." But she's funny like that. And that's the personality is helping her get hired. So women in leadership, she's very much in demand. A lot of corporate executives want to become unstiff, if that makes sense. They're kind of, too proper. So when you have something that's really fun for them to do, like Eric with his creativity, painting, they want to learn how to be creative again because somehow they lost it. So he has this fun activity. There's another speaker, Leif Hansen. He's always on Blab. He is so funny and so amazing and interactive that, he's just downright down to earth. And he speaks on everything from team management, change management. And he's really, really good at it. So, and interesting. So it's fun. So they're looking for fun, but most of all, to answer your question, thought leaders. And that goes back to the book again, and how you tweet on social media and how how many followers you have. They want someone who can make an impact, or who has already made an impact and can influence their followers. So if you go to their conference and you tweet about it, they want to know that all of your people who are following you on Twitter, they'll see about this conference, and then they'll retweet and promote their conference. So that's one thing. And if you're a thought leader, usually you have that. So they don't even want to hear, oh, I have a speaker to hire. They want to know you have thought leaders. So all of our branding now for our speakers is calling them thought leaders. And I do a newsletter to my speakers. We just started doing this month. But in this first newsletter, the first thing I said to them is stop considering yourself. I said, you are not a speaker, is how I put it. You are not a speaker. That's a headline. You are a thought leader. Because that's
we're gonna Facebook that out and tweet that out. You're not a speaker, you are a thought leader. Right. I love that.
You have to look at yourself as a thought leader, because you know why? Everybody and their mother wants to be a speaker these days, and everybody and their sister is. So if you want to distinguish yourself as really a professional who knows their stuff, who has a nice following, you need to call yourself a thought leader, and that's going to get their attention of you talking as a thought leader. There's one guy who's awesome. He's not represented by me yet. Maybe he will after saying this. But his name is Gary Vanderchuk. And I saw, you know who he is? I saw him last year or earlier in New York. I had no idea who he was. He's going to this workshop I really didn't want to be at. I was forced to go for work, and I was like, okay, I get out the office for a day. Let me go. And he said he wrote this book, like I forgot. Right. So that book. So, and he was talking about it. And I was like, what a weird name for a book. Okay. So now, fast forward, he's going to be in a pageant girl. I see him judging Miss America, and I'm there, and I'm not competing, but I'm in the audience. I'm like, how do you get to do that? So then I really didn't know much about him. And then he recently, I knew he did wine. That's all I knew. So he recently put out these videos, and one of the videos got my attention, and it was about people my age starting a business, and to do it. And he was so motivational. I can see why he's so in demand. He's down to earth, and he speaks the truth. And when he's on stage, he's not like a typical speaker. You'll see him bend down and talk to people. He's not stiff. And so corporate America appreciates that, and they appreciate that brute truthfulness. So he's doing really well. He's in demand all over the world. And if he would let me represent him and take some of that off of his plate, I'm just putting it out there, Gary, in the universe. I would be really happy to represent him, because I know everybody wants him, and that's great.
You have some representation. Let's make that happen.
Right.
And it's a great model for other people who want to get out there. He does a branding class. He's killing it. Gary Vee is killing the game. Just period. He's making money for himself, and definitely with his video. And excuse me, he's a great example of using video to really boost his brand, and his videos have been going viral.
Absolutely.
I totally agree with that one about Gary Vee just killing it. So we're going to segue a little bit. Thank you so much for telling us about speaking bureaus and what we should do when we want to come correct to them. Wait, I'll have to ask one more question. So for someone who may have been speaking before and feels intimidated by the Pepperidge Farm exec, and they may not be that exec. I'll use me as an example. I'm not a Pepperidge Farm exec. I do have some pizzazz, and I do have things. But, if I'm pitching a speaker's bureau, I've spoken for a lot of people years. I just have not put it together. I have a media kit. I have that stuff. I just don't put it out there. But for someone like me who says, I have a gift for speaking, I can do this, I can make this happen, but I don't have those huge titles. I feel like I'm a regular person. How do you approach your company if you feel like you're a regular person? Maybe you have some of the things in order, everything's not perfectly there, but how do you approach if you're like, wait a minute, I'm not a CEO. I don't know if I can command 70K yet. I know it'll happen soon, but what would you say for someone who's thinking about approaching you, but may feel deterred because of your current roster of speakers?
Well, you can't, because there are different markets for different speakers. So you wouldn't necessarily speak this same venues as she would. Depends. You might, if it's like a women's conference, you could totally be at the same conference, depending on what you're talking about. So the thing is not about your title or, where you are in life necessarily. It's more so about, do you have your credentials together? Do you have your video? Do you have a book? What do you have? Do you have followers? If you have some of those things, then you have value as a speaker that we could actually sell you somewhere. So say your expertise is social media. I don't have anyone right now on social media. Robert Stern, who's also on Blab, is supposed to be joining me. I'm still waiting, Robert. I'm still waiting, Robert. He's been too busy for me.
Oh, man. Okay,
that's another question. He did. He actually ran my Facebook page for Mrs. New Jersey for me for a while because he knew I was busy. So he actually used that and promoted it for a while, made sure that I kept it active. And then he got too busy for little Mrs. New Jersey. Unless I'm saying that on air. I wish he was on here right now.
See what you're buying up. Robert's getting big time for us New Jerseyans.
Right.
I'll see if he's available.
Yeah, but he really did. He tried to, at the beginning. He really did a great job. And then like I said, he's like this big time speaker. So everywhere on social media. So I told him, I said, you can be my social media guy. So I'm waiting for him to join in. He said he would. So I'm just waiting. I don't know when. But there's a lot of people.
Talk about live streaming.
Yes, exactly. He's getting to be expert in that as well. So
live streaming and branding. I know this is not about me, but my book is coming out about Periscope soon. It's coming
really?
out.
See?
Building a brand on Periscope. I've been talking a lot about that on different platforms. Even this week, I'll be talking a lot about that. This is not about me, but it came up. That's why I was in California doing that. I was in California with Lisa Nichols' team on her live streaming and social media team this weekend. And then the past weekend, I was in Virginia doing live streaming for the Playtime is Over conference. So it's definitely becoming a space that I truly am engaged in and excited about. And I'm in Wisconsin for my PhD. And my professors, they all know I love Blab. Like I've tried to incorporate it in the classroom so many times. And one of my research papers is going to be about the power of live streaming and how it's giving people who usually don't have a voice. So this is something I'm coming to love, and I'm like, oh, people actually want me to talk about it.
Right.
So that's definitely something that is definitely coming up there.
Yep.
And I know there will be a space for that. So I love how you said, look for a space that you can supply speakers for. Are there any other spaces that you're like, okay, I need someone for that? Because the Blab community is amazing, and I love being a connector. So if I think of someone, I'll definitely tell them to reach out to you. So are there any other spaces?
Oh, sure. There's always space for IT people who are experts in their field, but there has to be someone that people look up to, because there's so many IT people. There's a lot of IT conferences everywhere. And when I see them, I usually just skip over them because I don't have anyone that I'm representing that manages IT stuff, or coding or apps or things like that. So, those people need to be thought leaders as well, that someone's going to respect. So you can't just be like, yeah, I do apps. You have to be active in the app community and people know who you are.
You have to be a boss in the team. So so we're looking for speakers. Hey, Rashonda, we're looking for speakers who can dominate in their field, and not only just dominate, but be thought leaders. You're no longer speakers, you're thought leaders. I'm going to be tweeting that out to some people. Like, we're no longer speakers, thought leaders, actually contribute value to the field.
Right.
So segueing, this has been amazing. I've gained so much value. I'm going to be sharing the replays out with people that I know, because I know they're going to want this information. And we're going to segue a little bit into pageantry. And can you tell us a little bit, how did you start being Mrs. New Jersey?
Well, that's what I mentioned earlier. It was basically I'm at large. So that means basically I had to compete with other women who wanted to be Mrs. New Jersey, and we did that. We had to submit our portfolios for that. We didn't have to go on stage because for some reason that year they decided not to have a pageant in New Jersey. So that's how it got started, and I got picked to be that person to represent. So we basically had to go to the national director and be like, here's all of our stuff. We had to submit like photos of us in bathing suits and, write. It's a whole process to get picked. And I was lucky. That was the lucky one because a lot of people wanted it.
I looked at your photos. I'm like, oh my goodness. And you said you're almost 50. Let me tell you something. I don't know. This is the new 50 because this is not cracking. I am not 50. I'm not, how old am I? 27. And I'm like, goodness gracious, I need to step my game up to compete with these lovely ladies in their 50s and in their 40s. I need to go back to the gym because you ladies are rocking it. So I just want you to know you look fabulous. I saw the pictures. I was like, goodness gracious. And I love that story of how you, made that decision to get in shape and say, I'm going to do this so that I could, you had an incentive. You set that goal out. A lot of people, they'll wait, especially as we're going into the end of the year, going into the new year. So many people are going to be saying, I want to get in shape in January. And then by March, they forgot their whole goal.
Yeah, that happened to me too.
Not only just a goal for you, but a lifestyle. Absolutely. And it's motivating others to get in shape too. So I'm very excited and very proud of you. I started a month ago. Yes, we got to make lifestyle change. No more speakers. We're thought leaders and we're making lifestyle changes.
Right. I could tell you, Rashonda, is the hardest thing I ever had to do. And I had 3 children. So I've never found anything. I mean, I even went for my PhD as well, and I decided not to do that. but I've done so many things. And this, because it's an everyday struggle, because I have a husband who can eat anything he wants. And half the time I'm looking at him going, I hate you because I can't eat anything I want, And then as I got older, I also had other issues with like gallstones, which you don't know is going to sneak up on you when you get older. Nobody tells you these things. So I can't have my juicy cheeseburgers anymore. I'll have like a gallbladder attack. I'm like, really? Seriously, God, you did this to me? But I guess it was, the way it's supposed to be, because now I'm not eating cheeseburgers every day. So, not that I was, but, you want to. So, there's things you do. It is definitely a lifestyle change. Like even today, at the end of the night, I might want to just relax with a glass of wine, but I have to look and say, well, I had this today and I had that today. Can I afford these calories? Because I know I'll see it tomorrow on the scale. And I literally will see it tomorrow on the scale. I do not exaggerate that. Like if I don't eat the way I'm supposed to, the next day I can literally go for anywhere from 2 to 5 pounds. And I know I didn't eat 2 to 5 pounds of Doritos. So what the heck am I gaining 2 to 5 pounds? But that's how my metabolism works. So I have to be extremely careful if I want to stay in shape. If I don't care, I'm like, okay, whatever. I just be, I'm happy because I don't deprive myself. Like if I want a piece of cakes, I love cake and cupcakes. Those are my favorite and my weakness. So if I want a piece of cake, I'm going to have a little sliver just to get the taste and to know that, get rid of that urge for it. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to have a little piece, it might be, how sometimes it's double layer. I might just cut that layer in half and that's the part I'm eating. And then I'm like, oh, this is so good, but I can't go back and get another slice like I normally would do. And I never really have big slices, but I'll go back and get a second piece. So, and I love ice cream, and we have so many ice cream parlors around here. So I'm pretty set in my ice cream. I like vanilla ice cream. That's it. People like, you don't want anything else in an ice cream parlor. I like vanilla. That's my favorite. That's all I want. So, and I can eat like the waffle cone with you'll see me sitting there going, this is heaven. I just love my ice cream, but I got to be careful. Like if I'm going to eat ice cream, then I got to make sure that I ate a salad earlier today because my metabolism will be like, 5 pounds tomorrow. That's it.
Awesome. I love the balance of it all. What I did, I have it in front of me. Smoothies. That's my kind of my alternative to ice cream because I like sorbets. So the fruit smoothies. That's what I do as my alternative. And I need to be detoxing because how do you do that? That's another question really quickly. How do you stay in shape if you're on the road? Because I've been on the road for like the past 2 weeks and all healthy living has went downhill. So
it's so hard.
When you're on the road.
That's so difficult to do because first of all, your willpower goes down. You don't feel like it. You're tired from traveling. But we notice every hotel has some kind of fitness center if you really want to do it. But the hard part is that to find good food that's healthy on the road, because there's always a fast food joint here. There's a fast food joint there. There's Waffle House over here down south. There's, all these fatty foods. So I found it hard to find good food when I was traveling. But if you really want to do one thing that takes maybe a minute to stay in shape, the one thing that I found that it's hard to do, but it's amazing on your body, the effects that it creates, are planks. If you can do a 1 minute plank and then increase it to 2 minutes, and I hate planks for that reason, it's that they're hard to do, but I love the results and the quick results that happen. If I want to start to see my six-pack pop out, let me do planks for 2 minutes every day for 2 weeks, and you'll see my six-pack pop out. I know it's there. And even if you have like a muffin top, you're going to see that sucker start. You're going to see a difference. And if you do the side planks, you'll get rid of the handles on the side, because I have problems with little handles on the side. That's where all my fat likes to settle when I'm not eating right. So even if I just have like Doritos, that's where it's going to go, right on the handle. It does. And it's like, that's the muffin top for me. So if I know when I start to see that, I start doing my side planks, and I do them for a minute each, and you will see like within a few days, a big change. So if that's all you can do when you're on the road, I mean, Wendy's has great salads, so I will go there sometime and get salads. They have really, really good salads. But the problem is, like down south now where I am, they have sweet tea everywhere, and I love sweet tea. It's my nemesis. So I had to back off on sweet tea and learn to drink unsweetened tea, which is not the same. It's not the same. If you put a lot of lemon in it, it's just not the same. I don't like that artificial sweetener in it. I don't like the aftertaste. So I had to learn to drink it without the sugar. And then if I'm doing really well, I might treat myself to a sweet tea. So like I said, it's not about depriving yourself, because then you're just going to want stuff more. It's about doing it in moderation and knowing when you can have it as sort of a reward, not a reward that will keep you stagnant or to send you backwards, but that you can afford to do it now. So once, like for instance, I still have 10 pounds to lose, because the week of the pageant, when I didn't win Mrs. United States, I was like, give me some strawberry shortcake. I was still at the resort. Give me this burger over here. Give me that. I was like, before I left Vegas to come back home, I gained 5 pounds. So I was like, all right. And then since I moved here, I had gained 5 pounds. So I gained 10 pounds back. So I'm in that mode of getting rid of this last 10 pounds, which is always the hardest, right? So for some reason, it is the hardest. So, now I'm tracking my food, because when I tried to do it without tracking my food, I always messed up. So I have to track my food. And, it sounds like a lot of work, and it kind of is. But you're going to love the results when you're done. When you can wear all the cutest clothes and you see your body with the little curve, because, before I had a lot of curves every which way you want to go. But when you see that figure 8 start to develop and your tummy starts to get tight and you don't have your muffin top and other people are checking you out, it's kind of nice when you're over 40 and you have other people checking you out. You take all that you can get. I don't care. I'm married. You're like, yeah. My husband's like, like, yeah. Because you're over 40, you take whatever you can get. So, you worked hard for that. So that's, it makes a difference. So do your planks when you're traveling if you can't do anything else, and try to find places that have salads like Wendy's.
I will be getting my plank on before the end of the year, because I have another photo shoot that I need to look like something for.
All right.
I was like, oh my goodness, I lost 30 pounds. I used to live overseas for 3 years. We had a lot of natural food, and I lost 30 pounds. I've been back in the U.S. for less than 2 years, and let's talk about how those pounds are coming back. So I need to get in shape. I'm not waiting to January. I'm not even going to be having Thanksgiving. The most Thanksgiving will be like a turkey sandwich. That's going to be Thanksgiving this year. So I am going to be getting focused once I finish my homework.
Oh my God. Yes, because Thanksgiving can mess you up. The first time I tried Weight Watchers, I didn't think, and I started early November, right? Lost 10 pounds, was so proud of myself. Then I went to visit mom. And for Thanksgiving dinner. And you can't not eat when you go to mom's house for Thanksgiving. You can't even eat a little bit. She's making this sausage stuffing, and oh my God, it was. I was like, it's just over at Weight Watchers. Who? So.
And now Patti LaBelle has messed me up with these pies.
Yes.
And
I'm trying to find one because I have company coming over. So I want to surprise them with the patty pie. So I'm trying to find one because our Walmart doesn't have a supermarket. So I got to go far out, and I hope they have it. And you know, everybody's talking about these pies. I got to see what's going on, even if I just have a little bit.
Taste it one time, and that's it. That's it. I only have the pies during the holiday season.
And she launched right on time.
We're going to be clinking and eating Patty's pies. That's how we're going to do that.
That's branding right there for you. To launch it right before Thanksgiving. Oh my God. And everybody knows Patti LaBelle can cook. And then to have the guy who turned into Patti LaBelle with the viral video. Did you get to see that? You got to.
I actually did a Periscope about it today and how Patti LaBelle's, what we can learn about branding and digital course creation from Patti LaBelle. It was brilliant.
Awesome.
It was absolutely a brilliant branding move. Mm-hmm. So I definitely talked about it today on Periscope because it was brilliant. It was just brilliant. The marketing, she dominated in one field. She used the power of social media and the power of video testimonials to sell her pies. It wasn't about television. Nope. It was about the power of digital marketing. So it was completely brilliant, and I'm totally a fan, and that's why I want the pies. I don't even have a television anymore, and I was too busy doing live streaming all weekend to even see it on TV because I was at a hotel, but I didn't even turn the TV on. I saw it on social media. Mm-hmm. So the power of social media. So if you are an entrepreneur, you need to be marketing yourself on social media. You don't need to be everywhere. You need to be someplace and dominating and be very strategic. But she really did well with video testimonials. Live streaming, actual video is what really helped her sell those pies. And it wasn't what she said about the pies. It was what other people said about the pies.
That's the trick, to get other people. Yes, get other people talking about your brand. And that's what you got to do. Because if you try to sell to people, they just go, turn you right off. So if you can get other people talking about your brand, you have caught on to something there, and you need to run with that. Absolutely.
Brand ambassador.
Absolutely.
Yes. It was just a great weekend of branding, brand ambassadors, all of that. And then Patty's pies on top of it. Before I open this up for anyone else who's interested in getting into the seat, where do you see yourself in your speakers bureau and your pageantry in the next 5 years? Where do you see yourself?
Well, in pageantry, I have a real goal to win Mrs. America, so I tried back in 1993 when my kids were really little, when I lived in Pennsylvania, to be Mrs. Pennsylvania America. And I came in as a semifinalist. I knew nothing about pageantry then. And I tried again in New Jersey 2 years ago and came in as second runner-up. Today, I still know a little bit more, but however, be moving to Florida now, I am going to have to, the bigger the state is, the harder it is in pageantry, because they can pull from all over to get the best girls, best women to compete. And especially in a place like Florida and California, where you have the beach babes, So, and the younger they are, they can bounce back with their body quicker, where I have to work 5 times as hard to look close to what they look like, So it's harder. So I know being in Florida now that I have to compete is going to be very challenging for me, but it makes me up my game, if you want to say it that way. And I want to win the local Mrs. Florida America, and then go on from there. So that is kind of like vendetta to do. I want to win that. So I really want that. So I'm hoping that's where I am in the next 5 years with pageantry, and that I'm also at my ideal weight, because I'm almost there now, and I'm maintaining it. I don't want to have to go backwards. So as far as my business is concerned, I would like to have, in about, 5 to 10 years, anywhere from 50 to 75 really good speakers on my roster. And I would like to see them constantly working. I'm also one of the speakers that will be listed shortly, because I'm writing my book, and I want to be able to command top dollar. And I'm saying like 50 grand for a speech. So that's where I am. And, hopefully by then I will have 2 to 3 books out by a major publisher. I've published books via self-publishing road. And then I had a publisher, Simon & Schuster, publish one of my books. So I don't want to self-publish too much anymore. I might do a few, depending on what topics they are, but I really like it better when I have a big publisher behind me, especially with business books. And I said I would not write another book unless I knew it was going to be a bestseller. And this one that I'm working on is timely. I think it will definitely be a bestseller, and I'm willing to commit and work to make it a bestseller. And I have the resources now to make it a bestseller. So that's where I am now. This will be the only book I've ever hired a professional PR company to, actually. I'm hiring one for the launch of the book. Because I want to do it. My 50th birthday is actually next year. I want to do it if everything lines up perfectly with timing. For my 50th birthday, I want to have a press party for the book. And I need a PR company in Miami to do that with me. And I need a PR company to do by television appearances on some larger networks with the book. So it's the first time I ever had to do that. And I know it's needed. So, I see myself being in demand as an expert thought leader in what it is that I'm doing with my books, my business books. That's where I am.
I'm so excited to see that. And we have this recorded so we can go back to this video 5 years from now, or even 3 years from now, when you make this happen, the power of live streaming and manifesting your success.
Putting it out there.
So put it out there. I want to command 50,000 for a speech too. I'm working on it.
That's it. Yes.
And it starts with the idea that you can do it. Miss Janice of We Speak Worldwide, Mrs. New Jersey, she is a wealth of knowledge, and I want someone to definitely get into that open seat. Please come
Don't be shy.
Don't be shy. Don't be scared. Hey, Kathy, please get into the seat and ask her some questions. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat box, because I know that this Blab is a wealth of knowledge, and I'm going to be saving it and posting it because it is really a wealth of knowledge. And I'm excited. We talked about speaking, getting into pageants and the things that you need to do, self-care and preservation as you get older. You need to take care of your body, and just the things that we need to just do as women to stay healthy and fit. This was an amazing Blab. Are there any questions that you may have in the side chat? If not, I'll ask some more questions.
Wait a minute. I like Sister Girl. She says she's going to do her planks every night. Hopefully she sees a change by
those planks. We're going to get our planks. We're going to get our inner six pack. It's just, I got a six pack. It's just around some rolls.
Well, here's the thing. When you get older, right, your body automatically wants to morph into grandma mode. So, and I'm a grandma, but I'm like, I'm not morphing into grandma mode, and I used to have an alarm on my phone to remind me to do my planks. And they said, don't morph into grandma mode. Get up and do your planks for real now. And that's what it said. So every day it would remind me to do my planks. Now it just says stop playing, go do your planks.
I love that.
Yeah.
Do not morph. Well, I guess it's trying to morph me into mommy mode. No, I need to bounce back. I want to be a sexy mother one day.
It's the midsection that wants to work against you the most. Like, that's the hardest part. That's the one that wants to make you rectangle, square, and then sometimes circular. So it does not want to stay nice and tight.
And I did so well. And then I just, came back to America and New Jersey and drive-thrus.
Yes,
and just got excited again.
We have the worst food, though, here in America. I love America, but we have the worst foods and the worst regulations. I don't know where the FDA is. They're just MIA. Because what they put in the food makes you fat. And if you look at the quality of food from overseas, it's much better food than what we have here. And, that's one reason you see Americans are so obese. We have a problem. And it's not that we're just shoving food in our mouth. I mean, some people are, but most of us aren't. Like, I never even went back to get seconds, but it's all the stuff that isn't natural that they're putting in our foods that's not helping our health for sure. It's definitely not.
I totally agree. When I lived overseas, I had to go to the market every week. And if I wanted pizza, I had to get flour. And at that time I was doing cauliflower crust pizza. I haven't made that in a while, but I had to make everything because it wasn't just like a fast food restaurant, especially when I moved to the South in the middle of nowhere. you had to make everything, and things expired. They got, they spoiled. In the U.S., I can keep things for so long because there's so many preservatives. So through just eating healthier and walking and biking more, I lost a lot of weight. And the convenience of things in the U.S., I haven't been sticking to that, but definitely I plan on getting back onto that, because as a part of building your brand, you got to look like something. Hello, Alex Daily TV. Do you have any questions? I know Rolanda had a great question about looking into corporate speaking. I know that's something I definitely want to do. I want to do more diversity training in corporate, and I definitely have that question too. So how do you break into speaking for corporations?
Corporate is kind of hard to break into. The best way I can say that most speakers do it is that they speak a lot kind of around corporate, and then someone who's in corporate is going to recommend you because they're going to be in the audience and they're going to hear you and ask you to come speak. That's the way it usually happens. If you want to break into the corporate arena, you basically have to have something that they want to hear. You have to be dynamic, because the person that's going to hire you wants to know that you're going to make them look amazing, that everyone's going to leave there talking about your talk. You can't just get up there and be a teacher. You have to go up there and be almost a gym coach sometimes, get people out of their seats. Because I mentioned earlier that people can nowadays just watch a webcast and sit in their seat. So if they're coming out to see you, you better be giving them some kind of interaction that makes them talk about you later, because otherwise they could have just sat in front of their computer and listened to you. So if you're just going to talk, nobody wants to hear that anymore. You got to have some kind of game kind of, with your talk, like something that they're going to be having fun with, that they'll learn through that fun. It's almost like teaching kids with a short attention span these days. If you go in a classroom, you're trying to teach kids, you can't just get up there, wah, 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 like Charlie Brown heard, wah, 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 wah. You have to go up there and you have to engage them. You have to entertain them, because you're an entertainer. That's why people who are actresses and actors do so well as public speakers. If you tell me I was an actress over here and I did this play and that play and that play, and now I'm a public speaker, I usually know you're going to be really good at what you do. I have 2 speakers that I know for sure that were actors, and they're some of the best speakers I've ever seen. So that's what corporate America wants these days. They don't want someone just to preach to them and talk to them and teach them. You could do that doing what we're doing right now. So you better have something that you're bringing to them that's going to entertain them, that's going to teach them through that, that's going to interact and engage their audience. And you are making them look good, the person that hires you, because of that. That's my advice.
Bring your A game, be engaging. I totally agree. I used to teach high school, and they were like, how do you got so much energy? I said, because I had high school students that was teaching history. The boringest subject in the world. You have to have energy.
Right.
So like comedian,
their attention. Yeah.
Or a preacher, you have to have that level of engagement. You got to rock it. That's what I want to. If you want to be a good speaker, you want to be someone who's engaging, or even someone who's a personality on live streaming and social media, you have to have that it factor where you're engaging. Great question. So who else? Does anyone else want to get into the hot seat?
I'd love to talk to you. Jump in. Don't be shy. Hi, Alex. Come on in. How does one become Miss New Jersey? I'm Mrs. New Jersey, meaning I'm married. But you can actually apply online, and it depends on which pageant you want to try in. I'm Mrs. United States. They have all kinds of pageants. I mentioned that earlier. If you want to be Miss New Jersey, you can apply for the local pageant online. Everything's online these days, the applications. And then they'll invite you to the local pageant, and you'll be able to compete with all the girls there and get your title. Then if you win, you get to go on to the national pageant. And some, like Miss USA, you can go on to the international pageant. So Mrs. United States does not have an international pageant right now, but Mrs. America does. And you can go on and be Mrs. World. Matter of fact, one of my speakers that I represent, she was, I can't think of the town in Florida she was at, but she was representing that town and went on to win Mrs. Florida. America, and then she went on and actually won Mrs. World. And she's an amazing person. Her name is April LaFrio, and she's definitely a role model for all moms and wives out there.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. I know Sister Girl asked about the age gap or age cap. I know she said, I know you spoke a little bit about that, but is there an age cap for any of these?
Basically, most of them are, if you feel like you can wear a bathing suit on stage, because not all of them require a bikini. If you feel you can wear a bathing suit on stage and you're confident and comfortable in that, they'll accept you. I mean, most of them say like age 65, because most people over 65 don't want to be on stage in a bathing suit. But I got to tell you, there is a pageant out there for everyone. All you have to do is look. There are plus size pageants, right? There are pageants for men. There are pageants for old people, Miss Senior America, the plus size pageants, Miss Plus Size America. There's American Beauties Plus. There's a pageant. I mean, and the girl that I represent, Natalie Coleman. She basically she won several titles in Mrs. American Beauties Plus. I want to make sure I get it right. And she was over 400 pounds. So she lost 200 pounds naturally. And that's the one I told you has been on all the talk shows, because she didn't use bariatric surgery. She didn't use supplements. She didn't do anything but cut out fried foods, sugar. And she started off, she couldn't walk far. She started off walking she worked for a cable company and they had a huge parking lot. She would park in the back of the parking lot, was miles long, and walk up to her office every day. And that was a lot for her at first. Now she was a Zumba instructor. She has classes where she motivates other women to lose weight. And she's in Panama City, Florida. So she always has a class going on where she's exercising with women. And she's been such an inspiration that she was on Dr. Oz show. They had a big feature about her in the Dr. Oz magazine. She's Katie Couric. Mario Thomas wrote about her in her book. She's just talking about losing weight and then giving back and showing others how to do it. That's what she does. So to lose 200 pounds, she says, I'm a big girl. People look at me and they don't know my story, because she's still big, because she lost 200 pounds out of 400, actually over that. And she goes, it doesn't matter about the size of my hips. I am fitness, because she's large, she's in charge, and she still exercises every day. So she's been more fit today than she ever was her entire life, even as a teenager. So, that's what this is all about. So she was, even at 400 pounds, she always took a lot of pictures because she was proud of her curves. And, she won titles in Miss America Beauty Plus. And so I'm telling you, no matter who you are, what you want to do, if you're interested in pageantry, you can find a pageant.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Are there any additional questions? If not, we will end this episode of Brand on Blab, where we blabbed about branding. This has been an amazing episode. If you have any more questions, please let us know. Before we end, if nobody gets in the hot seat, this usually happens. I get to this.
Yes, I know.
And then somebody jumps in, and then and we never get on Blab. How can we reach out to you if we have any questions about potentially being a speaker, or if we just want to connect with you? How can our audience connect with you?
Well, my website, and I'll put it down here, is WeSpeakWorldwide.com. You can always email me there. I have all caps on. Why? And or contact me through that. And I guess it was on cap locks. And if you forget about that, you can always catch me on Twitter. I'm always on social media, trying to build my brand that way. Like I said, it's important because these meeting planners want to know that you have a following that you will sell their convention or conference with. So, it's important to do that. So you can catch me on social media, same handle, it's at We Speak World. And, I will get back to you. It might take me a day, but I will get back to you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Are there any additional questions? I'm asking. Or forever hold your peace. This has been an amazing episode. I would love to join in, but you're not dressed at all. Put on a towel and join us if you have enough.
Is that what it is? People are like, I'm not dressed. I'm not getting on there. You know what? Jump in and move aside from the video camera so all we hear is your audio.
This PG rated Y for everyone.
Go put your sunglasses on or something and just like, no makeup, put your sunglasses on. Just show your ear up.
Yeah, be sure this blab doesn't go south. Uh-oh. Okay,
That's
great.
Funny.
Give me a minute. Awesome.
She's joining in. That's great.
Awesome. Are there any words or tips for success that you would like to share with our audience?
Well, I can tell you this, and I do this every day. I always hear these things about successful people do this every day, and rich people do that every day. I'm like, whatever. I mean, I do a lot of those things anyway. So I look at them like, okay, I do that. I'm not like rich yet, so whatever. So I'm working on it, but I got to tell you, I learned this. My best ideas come from me. It's not meditation. It's more so I wake up in the morning and I don't rush out of the bed. I lie there, even though my dog wants me to get out of the bed and she'll stare me down trying to get me out of bed. I'll lay there and I'll just think about what it is I need to do for the day and run through kind of a list in my head of what I need to do. And probably I would say once a week, maybe twice a week, a new idea will come to me that I just would not have thought about in the hustle and bustle of the day. So I lay there for like 10 minutes. So even if you have to set your alarm clock a little bit early, there's Rashonda, so you don't have to rush out of bed. It helps you to come up with new ideas. Ideas for branding. I thought about, promoting my speakers via social media by making a little vignette of them on Photoshop, and I started that today. The newsletter idea for my speakers to get them to be ambassadors for the brand. I thought about that while I was lying in bed. So the idea is just open yourself up to new ideas and they'll come to you. I totally believe in that. And I've been doing that since I was in early college years. So all of my best ideas have come that way. I remember even a term paper I had to write in college. It was 10-page paper, and I used to hate to write back then. I was like, 10 pages? I had to fluff it. And I literally thought of the whole paper while I was in bed, and I got up and just started typing, and it was done. Hi, Rashonda. How are you?
Hey, Rashonda. Everyone. I can hear you. Okay, say. Let's see.
You may have to go back out and come back in.
It has loaded, but it's really dark. Hello?
Did she turn the lights out? She said she wasn't dressed. Did you do your shot? That's a good one. I like that one if that's what you did.
We can't hear you or see you.
Go back out and come back in. Try again.
Refresh and come back in.
Yeah.
You were able to see her. Yeah, we weren't able to see her. And I know.
Seconds.
So I'm going to close you out so you can come back in. Let's see if it'll come back in. Uh-oh. Let's see. Do you want to kick this person?
Yeah, they're really rude with that.
Yeah. Okay, your address. Awesome. So try to come back in. Let's see if we can make this work this time. It's coming. New technology, the power of live streaming.
There she is.
Awesome. You're here. Hey, Rashonda, can we hear you? Let's do microphone check 1 2 1 2. Okay, your screen is frozen, but we can see your face.
Right.
Hello?
She was moving, and now it froze again.
Oh, no. Now it's disappeared. Let's try it one more time.
Make sure your internet connection's strong.
Internet connection.
She's funny. I like her.
Yeah, the internet, you just never know what's going to happen with live streaming, but I love the ambiguity of it all. It's so fun. We're going to try this one more time. And what I'll actually do is I'll end the show and I'll take it off the record. So thank you so much, everyone who's been watching and the replay viewers. Brand on Blab, we blabbed about next Blab. I'll see you next Monday with Mia Hall she's the chief manager officer at, Barclays Center, and she talks about women in sports and how to get more women to talk about sports and be in that field to be ambassadors of sports. So I look forward to talking to her. See